World War II is packed with incredible stories of bravery, resilience, and unexpected alliances. But let me hit you with a question you probably weren't expecting. What if I told you that one of the most inspiring stories from World War II involved a bear? Not just a cute mascot or some circus act brought to the front lines, but a fully enlisted, hard-working soldier bear who fought alongside the Polish army. Yes, a bear, with a service record to prove it. This is the story of Wojtek, a Syrian brown bear who went from an orphaned cub in the Middle East to a decorated war hero. He carried ammunition during battles, shared beers with his comrades, and became a symbol of unity and hope for a group of soldiers who had already endured unimaginable hardships. But Wojtek's story isn't just about war, it's about the power of unlikely friendships, the strength we find in the most unexpected places, and let's be honest, the sheer absurdity of a bear marching with soldiers. Stick around, because you're about to hear one of the wildest, most heartwarming tales history has to offer. And let's not forget, Wojtek wasn't just a quirky footnote in history. He represented something bigger, a sense of normalcy and joy in the middle of chaos. For these soldiers, Wojtek wasn't just a bear. He was family, a colleague, and a constant reminder that even in the darkest of times, life could still surprise you in the best ways. Let's rewind to 1942. The world was in chaos, and a group of Polish refugees, mostly soldiers and civilians, was making their way through the Middle East after being freed from Soviet labor camps. These were people who had already endured starvation, forced labor, and the loss of their homes. You can imagine how drained they must have been, physically and emotionally. Then, in the mountains of Iran, they stumbled upon something that seemed completely out of place: a tiny bear cub, orphaned and struggling to survive. A local boy had captured the cub and was trying to sell it to travelers. Now, let's pause here. Imagine you're a soldier in the middle of a war. Your rations are limited, morale is low, and your life revolves around survival. What do you do when someone offers you a bear cub? If you're these Polish soldiers, the answer is obvious. You buy it. Wojtek was a bundle of energy and curiosity from the start. Soldiers fed him condensed milk from an old vodka bottle, and the cub quickly bonded with them. He'd stumble after them on his tiny legs, looking for attention or food, usually both. They didn't see him as just an animal. Wojtek became a symbol of hope, a reminder of life beyond the war. His playful antics brought laughter to a camp where smiles had become a rare luxury. And Wojtek wasn't just a passive presence. He quickly started learning the rhythms of camp life. He'd wake up when the soldiers did, share meals with them, and even attempt to help by nosing through supplies. Wojtek had no idea what kind of journey he was about to embark on, but he was already stealing hearts and showing the resilience that would make him legendary. At first, Wojtek was more of a morale booster than anything else. The soldiers were amused by his antics, stealing food, playing with their boots, and trying to climb onto their laps, despite quickly outgrowing lap size. But Wojtek wasn't just a playful cub for long. As he grew, so did his bond with the soldiers, and his appetite. Wojtek was no ordinary bear. By the time he reached adulthood, his intelligence was evident. He'd learned to recognize individual soldiers by their voices and mannerisms. If someone was having a rough day, Wojtek would often sit near them, nudging them gently as if to say, "I'm here." It was this emotional connection that made him so much more than just a camp mascot. He became a source of comfort in an environment that desperately needed it. His quirks only deepened his bond with the unit. He loved wrestling with the soldiers, often pinning them to the ground with his sheer size but never hurting anyone. He had a particular fondness for sneaking into tents, often startling soldiers awake in the middle of the night. Imagine opening your eyes to find a 200-pound bear staring at you, looking for snacks. It was moments like these that turned Wojtek into not just a companion but a beloved friend. And then, of course, there were his peculiar habits, like eating cigarettes. The soldiers initially tried to teach Wojtek how to smoke, which, let's be honest, was already a terrible idea. But Wojtek had his own interpretation. He'd chew up the cigarette and swallow it like candy. Strange. Yes. Endearing. Absolutely. As Wojtek grew, it became clear that he wasn't just a camp mascot. He was actively helping out. He had a habit of mimicking the soldiers, whether it was marching beside them or helping to lift heavy objects. One day, during a supply run, Wojtek started carrying crates of ammunition on his own. That's when his commanders realized they had more than a bear, they had a team member. But let's take a moment to appreciate the logistics of this decision. Transporting a bear across wartime borders isn't exactly straightforward. Officially enlisting Wojtek as a soldier wasn't just a formality, it was a practical move. As a member of the unit, Wojtek could travel with them without raising questions or being classified as a wild animal. Wojtek's enlistment also came with perks. He received the same rations as the other soldiers, though, let's be honest, he probably got a bit more. And while most soldiers had to deal with cramped quarters, Wojtek got special treatment. After all, how do you tell a bear he can't sleep where he wants? More than anything, Wojtek's official status solidified his role in the unit. He wasn't just a novelty anymore. He was family. And for a group of soldiers far from home, that bond meant everything. Wojtek's crowning achievement came in 1944 during the Battle of Monte Cassino. This brutal campaign was key to breaking through German defenses in Italy, but it came at a high cost. The Polish forces were tasked with carrying heavy artillery shells up steep hills under constant enemy fire. It was grueling, dangerous work. For Wojtek, this wasn't just work, it was instinct. Carrying 100-pound crates of ammunition up treacherous terrain was no small feat, even for human soldiers, but Wojtek handled it with ease. His strength was unmatched, and his steady presence under fire was almost surreal. He wasn't just doing a job, he was leading by example. Soldiers later recalled how Wojtek seemed unfazed by the chaos around him. While bombs exploded in the distance and bullets whizzed past, he remained calm, focused on his task. His courage wasn't just inspiring, it was contagious. Watching Wojtek, many soldiers felt a renewed sense of determination. If a bear could face danger with such composure, what excuse did they have? After the battle, Wojtek's contributions didn't go unnoticed. The unit redesigned their emblem to feature a bear carrying an artillery shell, forever immortalizing Wojtek's role in their victory. It was a fitting tribute to a comrade who had done more than anyone could have imagined. When the war ended, Wojtek's unit faced a bittersweet dilemma: what to do with their beloved bear. They couldn't take him back to Poland, which was now under Soviet control, so they brought him to the Edinburgh Zoo in Scotland. At the zoo, Wojtek became a local celebrity. Polish veterans frequently visited him, bringing treats like cigarettes and beer. Wojtek would rise on his hind legs and wave at them, as if he remembered every single one of his comrades. His presence became a symbol of the enduring bond between soldiers, even years after the war. But Wojtek's time at the zoo wasn't without its challenges. Accustomed to the camaraderie of the camp, he initially struggled to adapt to life in captivity. He often seemed restless, as if he missed the excitement and purpose of his time with the army. Still, his interactions with visitors, and especially with his old comrades, showed that his spirit remained unbroken. Wojtek passed away in 1963, but his story has lived on. Statues, books, and documentaries have immortalized his journey, ensuring that this extraordinary bear will never be forgotten. Wojtek's story isn't just about a bear, it's about resilience, loyalty, and the power of unlikely friendships. In the face of war, Wojtek brought light and laughter to those around him. He reminded them, and us, that even in the darkest times, there's room for courage, connection, and a little bit of absurdity. So, what do you think? Could Wojtek be the most legendary animal in history? Let us know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this story, share it with someone who could use a little inspiration today. Thanks for watching, and until next time, remember, sometimes the most extraordinary heroes walk on four legs.